How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be a weekly series I plan on doing, where I'm going to be recapping the Patriots game every week, giving my thoughts on the game, the Patriots, all that good stuff. I plan on doing probably right after I finish recording this a weekly recap video as well, recapping all the week one games in general, not just this one. I just want to go more in depth with this game because I'm a Patriots fan. And then potentially later, Dylan and I are going to try to record our week two picks. Uh, we're not 100% sure if we'll be able to do that tonight, timing wise, but if not, tomorrow I'm going to be recording my week two score predictions anyway. So be on the lookout for those types of videos. Sorry, I'm just getting a text here. Okay, but yeah, this game. Oh boy, oh boy. So, where do I start with my beloved Patriots here? Okay, so obviously there's positives and negatives. So I guess I'll just go over my thoughts in general first. So very up and down game. The first half, the first two drives of the Raiders were very concerning. Obviously, more so the first one when they scored the touchdown. Second one, Jalen Hawkins got that interception on the broken pass there by Carlton Davis. Then after that, I was very pleased with how the first half went. We dominated them after their second drive. Our pass rush kept getting to Gino. We were really playing good defense. We were moving the ball consistently on offense. I was very pleased in the first half. The second half was obviously a significant issue. We just came out lethargic, just out of sync, just not too much energy. It felt like from us in the second half. The defense played decent in the second half. I mean, obviously, not as good as the first half. Our offense was the problem. The only points we scored were at the end of the game when the Raiders were just in full prevent and we got a field goal and then attempted the onside. And obviously, we didn't get that. That didn't work out. So the first half, outside of the first two drives, I was pleased with what I saw. And the second half, obviously, a big negative. I guess in general, obviously, I was very optimistic on my team going into the year. I said 11-6. Now, again, this is just one game, week one, so I don't want to overreact. I thought that it was a possibility, a lot of new things on our team. Maybe it's going to take some time for things to come together. My 11-6 prediction, I knew was bold. I honestly felt a bit more confident in 10-7, but I guess want to maybe a bit bold and 11-6. And I guess that was just me kind of assuming we wouldn't have too much growing pains at the point, at least, where it's going to cost us games. I'm not necessarily saying that's why we lost the games at growing pains, but I think those were kind of very evident throughout this game. And awesome, the Red Sox lost to the A's. Great. All right, well, at least we won two of the three in the series. Shit. Oh, Red Sox. Oh my God, making me lose my mind over here. But anyway, um, just got me off track here. What was I just saying? Oh yes, I don't. It was just very evident that we definitely had some, new, just a lot of new things being implemented. Just it might take some time for things to click in gear here. Basically, just fully. I don't know how. I don't know. I'm describing it in my head. I don't know how to describe it with words. Hopefully, you guys know what I mean. And that was kind of evident, in some other games. The big one coming off the top of my head is the Bears game with Caleb Williams. You saw some good, some bad under the Ben Johnson regime. Definitely some growing pains there. Offensively, it looks like with Caleb Williams, sort of not necessarily offensively. I think just the whole team in general, offense, defense, special teams, I think, stayed relatively the same from last year. We brought Jeremy Springer back, who was one of the very few bright spots on our team last year. Just a lot of growing pains, might take some time to fully come together. We're probably gonna have some great games. Probably have some games like this, maybe where we don't necessarily lose. Maybe put up some more points and we still win, but it's evident that we're still figuring some things out. It might just take a while for things to fully groove and gel together. Is what I'm saying here, and that's what this game showed. I saw some signs of that in this game. So, I don't want to overreact. It's week one. I don't want to say my 11-6 predictions like completely, gone up in flames. I obviously it's still possible mathematically, but uh, yeah, it's going to be a bit tougher after dropping the first game of the year. Um, but yeah, I think I talked about it in some of my videos. I sort of saw a scenario like this potentially playing out where, obviously all the hype with us and we not necessarily we struggle, but we were just kind of lethargic. The game was close the whole time. We were leading at the half. We were up 10-7 at the half. And the second half, obviously, as I mentioned, was the big issue for us. Uh, we struggle. We don't look too great, and the Raiders kind of win comfortably. That's kind of what happened. Vrabel under his past head coaching tenure with the Titans. Trying to remember off the top of my head, I think week one they weren't too great of a team. If I remember right, week one. Trying to remember here. Off the top of my head, I want to say that's accurate what I just said, but I'm not 100% sure. I just remember 2021 against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals that was the Cardinals started off 7-0, but they got absolutely killed by the Cardinals opening day, and I'm pretty sure everyone expected them to win that game, the Titans, and they looked awful. And then they rebounded week two in Seattle on the road, where I think everyone expected the Seahawks to win that game. And the Titans ended up getting the one seed that year. They went 12-5, despite having like a historic amount of injuries. They had like the most players on IR, or like the most signed players in the season, some stat like that. And they still got the one seed. Obviously, it didn't work out. They lost to Joe Burrow and company in the divisional rounds, but um, I'm not necessarily saying it's going to happen with us, where we go to the AFC or not get the one seed rather, make the divisional round. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying Vrabel, I think from what I remember off the top of my head with the Titans, he usually isn't too great in week one. So maybe that's another thing not to get too concerned about, because he always rebounded with the Titans. Otherwise, or what rather, with the exception of his last 2 years, I guess more so his last year with the Titans. It's his second to last year. They were good up until they collapsed late in the year. They had one of the better records in the league. They were like 7-3 or 7-2, 7-3, I want to say, a good portion of the way through the 23 season. The 24, obviously, they only won 5 games. Wasn't too great of a year for them. Actually, 5 or 6 games. I think it was 5. All right, now I'm going to look this up, because this is going to bother the shit out of me here. Let's see here. They won 6 games. Yeah, they went 6-11 in Vrabel's last year with the Titans there. So yeah, the first half, as I mentioned, the Raiders' first drive, they went right down the field and scored, and they had a 3rd and 11. I'm like, all right, yeah, here we go. We can get a big stop here, hold them to a field goal. And blown coverage, Jalen Hawkins gave up a wide open touchdown. I believe it was Trey Tucker. And right off the bat, I texted some of my Patriots friends, and I'm like, well, we could have used Jabril Peppers there. Jalen Hawkins, I actually thought played mostly fine this game. Obviously, he got that interception, so that was good. There's another play. It wasn't necessarily his fault. He kind of got picked on the play in the third quarter, and Brock Bowers had a big gain. But I'm still mystified as to why we cut Jabril Peppers. The Steelers signed him. We played them week 3 at home in Foxborough, so maybe a Jabril Peppers revenge game there. I'm sure he'll be extra motivated. Then our first drive offensively, we got a good return from Gibson. We were at like the 40, around the 40, I want to say, off his kick return. And our offense did not look good. We looked kind of nervous, just kind of some jitters, it looked like. And we had to punt. The Raiders' second drive, they again were moving right down the field. Gino had like a ridiculous pass to our old guy, Jacoby Myers, threaded the needle on a 2nd-15, I think, if I remember right. Then a couple plays later, they're moving down the field, and we got the big pick. And from that point on, we dominated the rest of the first half. Our offense with May was clicking. Actually, the run game was very lackluster for us. We basically didn't have one the whole game, but passing wise, we looked great after our first drive in the first half. May was on target with his passes, hit a couple insane ones. Good old reliable Hunter Henry had an insane catch. He was also wide open on one that gave us some momentum up the sideline. Pop Douglas, as you can see in the second picture here, Pop Douglas got a touchdown to tie it at 7 apiece. We our defense, as I mentioned, was getting to Geno Smith after their first two drives. Then get some sacks, had some nice pressures. Then we had a nice drive that kind of stalled out from penalties. If I remember right, Borregales missed the kick. Um, then our defense got another stop, and we got another field goal from Borregales to go up 10-7. Raiders drove down the field, and Daniel Carson, I think it was a 59-yarder he attempted. He missed it. So we were up 10-7 at the half. There was a 4th and 1 that we kind of got bailed out on a flag, which led to the Borregales field goal. It kind of canceled out because he missed a chip shot field goal. So the halftime score was correct in my mind, 10-7. And I posted on my story. I'm like, we're up 10-7, but I feel like we should be up a lot more. I'm a bit uneasy. Hopefully we can at least put together at least a field goal to open the second half. First couple plays, couple first downs, and then May got hit on a throw. It was off target, and the Raiders picked it off. And from that point there, it was a complete disaster for us. Just as soon as May threw that pick, just me as a diehard Pats fan, even though we had the lead at that point, I just felt deflated. I'm like, I do not have a great feeling about this game. Raiders went right down the field, scored, took a 17 to there was a 14-10 lead at that point. And then our offense, we just were just out of sync, couldn't get anything going. May was off target a bit. He had Hunter Henry open on a just for basically a check down. He was wide open a few yards in front of him. He missed him. It was like a stick concept route. Just May was a bit off target. The defense in the second half was, as I mentioned, not nearly as good as it was in the first half. They did get a key stop when it was 17-10. Well, they held the Raiders to a field goal to make it 17-10, so that was big. They got a stop after that. Then, at the end of the third quarter, Diggs caught, I think it was a slant route on a 3rd and 5, I want to say. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's go tie this game up. And we couldn't. We had to punt them the ball back. They had a long drive. I want to say they converted a 4th and 1. I thought we had them stopped. It was like a play action with the running back. I think it was Genty on the play going in the flat. We covered it well. I'm like, we got him bagged. And then Michael Mayer caught a pass, held to a field goal, so it was 20-10. I think there was 6 minutes left in the game at this point. And our offense went down the field, put together a decent drive. And, fast forward a bit, it's 4th and 5. We're going for it at midfield. Well, actually, penalties killed us the entire second half. And it started a drive in the first half, too, when we had all the momentum. 4th and 5, we get another penalty. I think it was a false start by Will Campbell. Vrabel punted with 6 minutes left. Now, a lot of people criticizing Vrabel for that. I understand it. 6 minutes left. We had all 3 of our timeouts. You're hoping to get a quick 3-and-out, probably get the ball back, I don't know, around 4.5 minutes, something like that. Get a quick score, use our timeouts, hopefully get another score, either win or tie things up. That was probably Vrabel's mindset rather than going for it at midfield, potentially not getting it, and then really putting yourself in a hole there. And, Vrabel talked about it in his press conference. It's a decision that didn't work out. And, I mean, he was going to go for it on 4th and 5, but I guess the extra 5 yards, made him punt it. I'm okay with that decision, even though it was considered. I would have been fine if we had went for it too. Sorry, I'm just reading my phone here. I had another text. I know of Vrabel, if I just said this, but Vrabel is saying he was hoping for a better punt. But anyway, it was a 3rd and 20 after the punt, and we really needed to stop. And what happened? The Raiders get a deep shot and convert it. And I'm like, I fucking knew this was going to happen with Gonzo. And I was texting my friends the night prior when we were talking about the game. I'm like, oh, with Gonzo being out, I'm like, I feel like they're rookies. They get a speedster, superstar rookie. Well, not superstar. not superstar yet, but a rookie speedster receiver. He might he might get a deep shot with Gonzo out, and that's exactly what happened. It came at probably the worst time for us trying to get the stop there. That basically iced the game. We had to use our timeouts. We trying to think. We forced a punt. Yeah, we forced a punt, right? I think we forced a punt. But at this point we had no timeouts. There's like a minute and change left. Our offense, we went up the field. The Raiders are in full prevent. We got the field goal to make it 2013. Obviously, we had to go onside and it went out of bounds. So that didn't work out for us and we lost the game. So, yeah, again, some positives, some negatives. Some positives I've written down here. As I mentioned, the pass rush was great this game. Really caused some issues for Geno Smith. Uh, our passing offense in the first half was really good. Keyshawn Boutte, in particular, had a really good game. He's really underrated. He might be a decent waiver wire pickup in fantasy leagues too. Um, Passing offense in the first half. I may have just said passing offense. If I said passing offense in the first half, that's what I meant. If I didn't, I mean passing offense in the first half. Our passing offense in our offense general in the second half was not too good. Our defense in the first half, I thought, was great outside of those first two drives. Although I will say, I think it was a bit too conservative on the last drive. Now, Carlson missed the field goal, but we had like literally a 0-man pass rush. I do not like that. At least rush like three to get, hopefully some pressure, not give, Geno Smith literally all the time he wants. Now, obviously, you had to get it out quick because they didn't have too much time left for trying to get the field goal up there, but still, I don't like a 0-man pass rush at all in that situation. Some negatives, as I mentioned, the run game was pretty much non-existent for us. Our secondary was having a rough game. Specifically, the play action passes. The Raiders, I poached this so much. The Raiders at this rate, if they just go play action pass every play, they're going to go 17-0 and score a touchdown every drive from this game, for Christ's sake. We could not stop them for our lives on play action passes for whatever reason. As I mentioned, May was a bit shaky. It felt like more so in the second half. He was missing some throws, some off-target throws. And then the second half in general was just a big negative. As I mentioned, energy seemed to be lackluster. Energy wasn't there. Uh, just just not a good second half. Vrabel and the players talked about that. Energy was not there in the second half. They need to be better there. A lot of Pats fans I don't want to say starting to turn on Drake May, but they're starting to, well, I guess in this game in particular, they're blaming the game on May. I don't think this game was entirely on May. I think it was more of just the team being, lethargic and out of sync in the second half. As I mentioned, May definitely had some off-target throws. I thought for the most part he played fine. But yeah, in general, people are starting to say, is May really the guy? Now, everyone was super hyped about May going into this game, so I think it's just, overreactions. It's not Mondays, I'm recording this, but, overreaction Mondays, they say the game after or the day after NFL Sunday. I think it could be a case that now if this sustains, maybe you can argue that, but again, just one game here. I think a lot of people criticizing Josh McDaniels to this game. I do think he should have tried to, run the ball a bit more, gave Henderson some more snaps. Although I also actually one thing I will say, I think we should attempt more deep. And again, it's just one game, but I wish we attempted more deep shots this game. I feel like a lot of May's throws were just either short or intermediate rather than deep shots. I wish we attempted some more deep shots. Maybe we'll build up to those, just trying to get the fundamentals down. Let's see. Let's go through some stats here. Let's see. Yeah, Geno played really good in this game. The pick was a tight throw. It got batted. It wasn't entirely Geno's fault, but maybe not the best decision from him there. Ashton Jeanty, I guess this is a positive for us. He didn't really do too much this game outside the touchdown he had was he broke off some tackles and powered into the end zone. Besides that, he didn't really do too much this game. That's probably going to be a work in progress for their offensive line and the run game this season for the Raiders. Brock Bowers played really good. A bunch of his yards came on that play I mentioned where Hawkins got picked in the third quarter. And Brock Bowers was, which he got hurt. He's thankfully I think he's going to be fine, but Michael Mayer had to step in for him. By the way, he's actually a pretty underrated tight end. I feel like Jacoby Myers had a really good game. Uh, Trey Tucker, as I mentioned, at that deep touchdown. Dante Thornton was the rookie receiver I was talking about that caught that deep pass on 3rd and 20 to basically ice the game. Um, the Raiders defense, and again, this has kind of been the case for years. On paper, it looks like a mess going into the year, but they always play better than I think people expect them to, and they're better than they are usually statistically. I'm a big Patrick Graham fan. I really like Patrick Graham as a defensive coordinator. May here, if again, 46 pass attempts. That's another thing. Some questions in the media is May, we pass too much, is May have too much on his plate. Again, we should have tried to run the ball more, I feel like. Let's see. Outside of May scrambling, we had 12 rush attempts. Well, I guess 14 if you had Pop and Antonio Gibson's carry a piece there. So, and again, the game was within reach the whole time outside of, when the Raiders kicked or rather when they were up 2 scores at 6 minutes left. Obviously, you have to be pass heavy there. Besides that, it was a 1-score game the entire time. And some of our runs weren't working to make it, second and long. So I understand not running there. But again, you got to stick to the run game, even if it's not working. May should not be attempting 46 passes. But I thought May, again, a bit shaky this game, more so in the second half. Missed some throws. I thought he was fine for the most part. Henderson, even though, the stats don't just here, I actually like the very little we saw from him this game. Stevenson, a lot of Pats fans down on him. It's kind of like the reverse of when Stevenson first came into the league in 21. When Harris was the start, everyone wanted Stevenson over Harris. And now it's kind of the opposite with Henderson coming in and Stevenson's the running back one. So I mentioned Keyshawn Boutte, really good game, very underrated. Hunter Henry, good old reliable, really like Hunter Henry. Diggs, he didn't make, like an explosive play, but he had a pretty good first game back. Henderson caught some check downs, so he got involved in the receiving game a bit. Kyle Williams, only 1 catch. Austin Hooper, excuse me, on our first drive was a nice play action bootleg. He caught that pass. Then Matt Collins got a pass. May caught a pass. It was batted. He caught his own pass. He has the same amount of receptions as AJ Brown this season. Pop Douglas only had two catches for you, -2 yards. He went backwards, but he got the touchdown, so that's good at least. And then again, as I mentioned, our defense a bit banged up, mainly Gonzo missing, but our pass rush is really good for the most part. Really like that. But secondary was a bit rough this game. Although thankfully, we're pretty deep on corners. I like Alex Austin. And obviously, I like Carlton Davis. He played good for the most part. But I like Alex Austin too. But obviously, it's going to be a boost when Barmore comes back. And Marcus Jones, I obviously like him too. Speedster returner. Let's see here. You look at the team stats. Again, the Raiders had almost 400 yards of offense. Even though our defense played really well, I think it was mainly our pass rush. The Raiders did feel like, especially in the second half, they were moving the ball with ease, just up and down the whole field. They had over 6 yards per play. We had just under 5. Wow, we actually had more rush yards than that. That's a bit surprising. But again, they didn't really do too much running this game. Probably going to be a work in progress for both teams as the season progresses here. Third down, both teams kind of struggled on. Penalties, you'd like to see those cleaned up a bit for both teams. Then time possession nearly dead even. Honestly, the stats kind of tell the story of the game. Pretty close in a lot of them. The game was close up until, the end when the Raiders were up 2 scores and, under 2 minutes off. We had no timeouts. So the stats, I would say, are pretty telling of how this game went. Again, I don't want to overreact just week 1. I do think the bad things he did in this game, it'll be, I don't want to say easy to clean up, but there are definitely things that can be cleaned up. Like, penalties, maybe, some rookie jitters from Will Campbell, for example. I'm sure, hopefully those are out of the way now. Just, out of sync, miscommunication, obviously those things can be cleaned up. Hopefully Gonzo's back this week, even though he didn't practice today. I'm recording this Wednesday, so hopefully he can play. But It's not looking too good. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think of things you could clean up. So obviously miscues out of sync that can get cleaned up. Penalties that can get cleaned up. The run game, we got to figure that out. I mean, the things that really hurt us this game, I think we can clean up. Some coverage breakdowns, obviously, we can work on that. We didn't, I would say we probably played like a C game. And, not that the Raiders played their best game by any means, but the Raiders outplayed us. They deserve to win this game. The Raiders, I think, will be better than people expect them to. I only have them at 6-11, but I would not at all be surprised if they even squeak out maybe 9 wins, you can argue. I think they'll be a really competitive, serviceable team this year, even if they don't get too many wins. The Raiders outplayed us, deserve to win the game. But they didn't play their best game by any means, but I'm sure if you ask them, there's a lot of things they can clean up too. But just a lot of, not that we beat ourselves, the Raiders straight up beat us this game, but just a lot of self-inflicted wounds that we can clean up moving forward. I'm not too concerned, honestly. A lot of people saying that it looks like the team from last year. Hopefully, we just get 5 or 6 wins. I definitely think our floor is probably around 7, and our ceiling is probably around what I had us at 11. I I still think that's possible. Going to be tough, but who knows? Excuse me. I think 9 or 10 is probably more comfortable for me as far as the amount of wins we get. But whatever, I'll stick with my 11 prediction. Why not? But yeah, I'm trying to think what else here. Yeah, I'm not too down. Basically, is my big takeaway from how we played. We didn't play great, but just some things that we can definitely clean up moving forward. I think we will. I'm not too concerned. Uh, but yeah, definitely would like to see some, more running, more deep shots. May not having to throw as much as he did. The secondary playing a bit better, and us coming out, with more energy, things like that. Obviously, less penalties, which again, I think all that will get cleaned up. I'm not too concerned moving forward. It's my big takeaway. Uh, I think we'll probably have games like this. We'll probably have games where we probably win in a blowout, and it's like, here come the Patriots. Like, look out. Probably have some games like this where even if, we might win, but it might look like we did in this game, kind of an ugly win. We'll have some bad losses, maybe a few bad losses. I think we're going to have kind of an up and down season as far as how we look, but actually, I think for the most part, we'll look pretty good. Probably have a good blowout win or two, maybe even more. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic there as a Patriots fan. We'll have some close wins, but again, we'll probably have a bad loss or two, have some ugly losses like this. Just a mixed bag as far as results, and hopefully, obviously, more winning than losing. But yeah, my big takeaway: not too concerned with how we played in this game. Now, if we lose to the Dolphins week 2, I'm going to be seriously concerned. That is when I will start to potentially raise some red flags around the team. But we'll have to see how that game goes. We'll talk about that. There's some Dylan later tonight in our podcast episode or my week 2 score predictions that I probably plan on uploading tomorrow. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully, if you're a Patriots fan, I was able to, calm, hopefully calm some nerves, make you a bit more, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just hopefully you come out of this video not feeling as bad about this game as you may have initially right after it. Now that we've had a couple days to reflect. But yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in, and take it easy, guys.